Welcome to the Acapulco Modular series. This is episode 1. Today we're in conversation with Patrick from Bastl Instruments. Join us as we navigate the realm of modular synthesis.
Hello, Sergio. Thank you for having me here. I'm
you.
Patrick. I'm from Bastl Instruments. And, what I take care of in Bastl Instruments is mostly marketing and social media stuff. I'm beta testing. Sometimes I'm doing some little sound design for for some projects. Like
Right.
I have some samples in the last sample bank for Microgranny. Yeah, that's what I do.
So how long have you been there, approx?
It's I'm in Boston for more than 2 years, I
Okay.
believe. But I was around before. Boston is it's more like a family in a sort. I don't want to,
Yeah.
like sounds like a
Yeah, like the
like
cliche that we're a
yeah.
family and
We are family here. No, it's not like that. We are definitely like a real company, but it's a broader than just like yeah,
yeah.
all right, you are working in Boston and you are not working in Boston. It's really like also it feels like a family. I was around. I was working in a different like that, but it's
Yeah, but
yeah,
like
you
very
are
close.
working in Boston.
Like you
I'm sorry.
really yeah, that you're like very close, you really believe like in what you're doing. It's more
Yeah,
than
well,
products and it's
yeah, also, but it's also because Czech Republic is not a big country. That means that synthesizers or electronic music is very niche,
yeah, it is.
and synthesizers are even like
Even more.
smaller niche,
Yeah, correct.
and hardware synthesizers are even smaller. So
Yes.
like I think like there is like a handful of people who
Right.
are interested in that. So yeah, so it's maybe it's because of that, like we are more connected because
Yeah,
there are
that's true.
so little people.
That is true. And were you kind of like already interested before, like in Eurorack, or because I think this is always like a very interesting question to know. How did you get into Eurorack? Like, what was like the
Oh, yeah, well, how I get into Eurorack, I was always very interested in synthesizers in general.
okay?
Like my probably favorite band when I was a kid was British band Yes, if
Uh
you
huh.
know them.
I haven't really heard of
uh,
them, but
well, there are sometimes people are saying that that's the band which killed progressive rock, because they were like that like out of their mind and doing whatever they were doing.
yeah,
And of course they had the synthesizers. I was like always, okay, this is like I really like this
this is
stuff. I was
interesting.
always a singer first,
Okay,
and so I was only interested in synthesizers, and then like Ableton came and like
yeah,
software came, and then I bought some first hardware synthesizer. I believe it was Electron Unlock 4,
okay,
and then I jumped on the bandwagon of Eurorack. I think like 7 years ago, 6 years ago, something like that.
it kind of like
Uh,
it has been growing like exponentially, like so fast. Like I also got into
oh
it like around 10 years, and I have seen like
yeah,
it's very steep, like the way it's going up.
yeah. What's quite funny. Like we are sometimes thinking, okay, like it's gonna crash. The whole
Yeah,
market will
the whole
not
scene.
be
Yeah,
not be here in 2 years, and in 2 years the market feels even better and bigger
yeah,
and stronger than ever before. So
yeah. That's true. Because actually, one of the things that I wanted to ask you, it's about obviously these years of the pandemic have been like very challenging. I guess also for you, like a lot.
yeah.
Because we have seen like all of these brands like WMD and other
Hmm.
brands like just crashing. So, how did you made it, or how was it for you, like in those kind of like dark times of in
Well,
general?
pandemic at the beginning wasn't really the dark times, because everyone was stuck at home.
Yeah,
No one was going to pubs. Like no one was like spending their money.
yeah,
Everyone was working from, and like almost everyone was working from home. And so the pandemic at the beginning wasn't that bad because we actually had really good sales.
Okay, that's great.
Yeah. Uh, and I think it's not only for us; it's true in general for like companies which are making synthesizers or anything hobby related.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. After that, the bad things start happening. Like the chip shortage, component shortage. We had to stop producing our time, delay effect,
Okay.
because we simply didn't had
Yeah.
chips, and we are not producing it anymore because it means that we have to redesign it
Yeah.
from ground up. Because the thing is, what was happening was that the companies which were able to produce these chips stopped producing these low tech chips we were using, and a lot of music production
Yeah.
or music synthesizer companies were using, and they started producing something like not high tech but higher tech, let's say.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because it has better margins, higher value.
Sure.
So at first it was like, okay, we cannot get those chips in a quantities we really want. After that it was okay, we cannot get these chips at all.
Yeah.
And after that it was okay, we cannot get these chips because they are not producing them anymore.
Yeah. That.
Because
Yeah. I guess that changed the whole way you approach
yeah.
to your product as well, like big
Oh
time.
yeah, yeah. As I said before, we had to stop producing time. I'm not sure if there was something else. We definitely stopped produce something,
Is
some older products also.
is that when you kind of like started to think about this new redesign of the current line that you have that I really love? It's great. Eh, Is that when you start making like these changes? Like we're gonna take this time that we have to kind of like make a new approach and make a new redesign, or it came before and after, or
Well, if you mean our like Aikido and pizza and stuff,
yeah,
these products usually take 1 to 3 years to produce.
wow,
Yeah, so it was like the production started before the pandemic for
okay,
sure. Uh, I think we had more luck than anything else because our range of product is very broad. Like we are doing digital
yeah,
synthesizers, we are doing analog stuff for Eurorack, we are doing samplers which are fully digital, and we just had luck that not everything wasn't there was always something we can produce,
okay,
because once we were able to get these chips, once we were able to get these components, once were able to get this and this, so yeah, we were lucky,
okay.
I think.
Oh, but that's great, because I have been also been very interested to ask you about, at least for me, like in the Eurorack scene, for me,
Hmm.
you kind of like became famous in Eurorack for your wooden panels.
Hmm.
At least like in kind of like in my eyes, and then, but this, for example, new line is like completely different. I think
Oh yeah,
for me it feels like very mature, more cohesive, and also very bold. I think
yeah.
the products that you have are amazing. I'm very like happily impressed with the quality, the build quality, the design is great. I'm looking at here because I have them right here, like in front of me, and I have been trying some of them. I really like the Aikido, uh, but
Well,
I
if
guess
you
you can
don't.
walk me through later. But yeah, kind of like my question was like more into, because they're quite different designs, like going to these like
Mhm.
wooden stuff, and also the types of modules that you were doing, and switching to this more cohesive, mature, kind of like different path. How did it kind of like happen, the whole thing, or the decision? How did it
Well,
came? And
well, how did it happen? That's well, maybe I have a question for you. Like,
yeah,
which style you prefer? The wooden, the OG, or the aluminum ones, or the PCB ones we are producing now?
I like these ones better, like design wise. it's just like the wooden ones were so unique. So I guess they have like this, this certain character that you don't really see anywhere else in Eurorack.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm not surprised that you cannot see it anywhere else because working with them was just hell. Well, basically, why we started it like that was because we were not able to produce anything else at the time.
Okay.
Václav, when he started the company, he, like basically when we started the company, it was all one big learning process, learning
Yep.
experience for everyone.
Yeah, but a lot of trial and
And
error.
yeah, and Václav and everyone else in the company back then had a CNC machine, which I believe was homemade.
Okay.
And it wasn't the CNC machine wasn't ready for aluminum. It was only working with wood.
Wow. Okay.
So we started doing wood panels.
All right.
That's it.
Okay, that's the
You
story.
know, like yeah, that's the story. And like to be honest, the working with the wooden panels was horrible. Like printing on them, like doing the screen print, it was horrible. The wood was when you cut these wooden panels, they are still, like, let's say, alive, and
Yeah,
they're
so
changing
they're still
they're
changing.
changing their the dimensions.
Yeah.
So
And also, I guess at
it
home it's
was
expanding and contracting
yeah,
constantly,
exactly,
temperature wise.
exactly. So if you cut like 10 pieces of one panel, you have like maybe 3 usable.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, so it was horrible. It was horrible. And uh and we didn't had any experience with working with companies which were able to make them from aluminum. So we are doing them from wood.
Okay.
As I said before, like I'm marketing manager, right?
Yeah.
And I wasn't in a company back in the day, and I think it was like borderline genius from Václav
Yeah.
and Ondřej, but they didn't do it on purpose. It
Yep.
was just okay. Like let's work what
With
we
what we
can
have,
work with,
exactly.
right? Yeah, what we have exactly.
But it was
So
like because the reception was like very unique because of course you're used to, the modular scene. Well, scene, yeah, I guess, starts going up like quite steeply, and then you start looking at these wooden panels, and of course immediately it's like, what do they do? And of course, I guess that you got a lot of visibility because of it, in a way.
uh-huh. Well, it was definitely different. It was definitely something else. And people still ask us, like, when we will do wooden panels
Yeah,
again. And I
I guess you
always,
got like a very loyal like fan base
oh yeah,
of
oh
some
yeah,
degree.
we have. Like, our fan base is just amazing. Like, yeah. But unfortunately, like, I'm sorry, guys and girls, and everyone else, we will not produce wooden panels anymore. Like, not in the near future, not in the far future. I'm really sorry.
So they will become like vintage objects
Oh yeah, like if you
for
have wooden
sure.
panels, keep it, and you will probably be able to sell it for a lot of money.
And also, I think they're very good looking. Like I think they're very unique. Like I was saying, like
Oh yeah, yeah,
telling
they
you
are,
before,
they are. Like
they have a
you know,
beautiful
and
like character.
yeah, and the whole lineup from that time was very very unique.
Yeah. And for example, talking about your new line, like what was like the whole approach? I mean, I have like the Aikido right now because I'm a huge fan. I don't know if we can start from here because it's it's beautiful. Like the design, I think is like very very smart design,
Hmm.
size wise, quality build is like great. But the overall design of the whole module, I think, is pretty interesting. Like very well made,
Uh, you know,
and it sounds great as well.
yeah, the whole thing is just it's like baby of Václav and Pete. Um, and Pete has a very like different approach basically to anything he is
Okay.
doing. Like and to get together with Václav, they are like, you know, I like there is some connection between them, and they can do very wild stuff. Also, the Aikido, they just wanted to make VCA they want to use. That's
Yeah.
it. And you know, and you asked about the whole lineup, like what's the like mindset behind it.
Yeah.
And that's quite interesting thing, because I think it's all in all our instruments right now, and we have like new stuff, of course, in works, and everything is about playing live.
Okay.
Playing, it doesn't have to be playing live. It just like you're interacting with
Yes.
that. You're doing stuff, yeah. And so, um, if you look at the Aikido, I wish I can talk about other stuff we have in pipeline. It's always about like, okay, how we can make it playable.
Yeah, I think that's like, I think that, I mean, in the end, if you really think about it, I think that's kind of like the heart and soul of Eurorack in a way. It's like that we are attracted to
Well,
these knobs and faders, and
sometimes.
but it's nice when they're like when you can really interact with them. I mean, of course, there's like different styles and workflows, and some people like menu diving stuff, but I think in the end, when you are, especially performing, like it has to be, the feeling has to be right. Like for example, when I see the dark matter that you have, just the sliders and everything, it really feels like to be played, like
Yeah.
kind of like to perform, like to be easy access and these kind of things.
Yeah, it's definitely about that. You know, that's why we are not using displays at all. Even though I'm a big fan of displays, I'm probably the only one in the company. But I get why we're not using them. You know, because when you have a display, you kind of want to look at it.
Yeah.
That's the whole reason of having a display. And so without display, you are not using your eyes, you're using your ears, which is you know,
Yeah.
because sometimes it feels that with a like DAW and stuff like that with a computer, you're sometimes making music more with your eyes than with your ears.
That's true.
And we want to, you know, be as far as from that with our modules as possible.
Yeah, actually, for example, when we receive in the shop the new lineup, like the first, because you know there are some modules that you receive and the first idea that you get is like, I need to look at the menu, at the manual. But with the lineup that you had, it kind of like makes you go explore it first and see what everything does, and like really play it around. And then maybe if you need like to go a little bit deeper, then of course you go and check the manual. But like the first impression of your lineup, at least in my opinion, is like, I want to explore it. I want to play it. I want to see what this knob, what this slider does, and then you know, check it out later with the manual,
Yeah.
which I think is very
Yeah,
nice.
it's as I said before, like it's about being connected,
Yeah,
with the instrument, and like actually doing something interesting and playing with that. That's it. Just wanted to talk about soft pop, because I think that's soft pop has a lot of these like ideas and themes behind what we really want to do as a company inside it. Like for instance, yeah, of course it is possible to record sequences normal way that this gate will have this note, and
yeah,
but it's, you know, like I think it's quite boring. And we actually, and so yeah, you can do it this way, but what we are actually doing is that we have this let's say gesture UI.
okay,
So you are actually moving the slider up and down,
yeah,
and because you can record and stop recording but still moving the sliders, you actually making, you know, like like boop,
Yeah.
like little music ideas in
Yeah.
in your hand
Yeah.
instead of
Yeah. Like more
your brain.
exploration.
Yeah.
And for example, like if we can talk a little bit about the pizza, because I think it's a very very interesting module. Because I mean, still now after I have been like 7 years in Eurorack, I still have like difficulty to understand complex oscillators. They're, I mean, like the name, quite complex, and you really need to go deep into FM, AM, and all of these techniques that you can have. They are also quite expensive. They take a lot of real estate, and but for example, for the pizza, which is FN plus wave foldering in a way, uh, I I can basically find a lot of sweet spots very easy, which if I go to a traditional complex oscillator, the sweet spot require like a deeper knowledge
Yeah.
of the techniques. So was it kind of like like intentional that the pizza was like easy to use or easy to find sweet spots or more musical, or was it like a thing, or it kind of like happened by accident?
Well, that's a good question. Pizza is very much inspired by is it Digitone from
Uh-huh.
Electron, the FM synth?
Okay.
It's the
Yeah.
Digitone, right?
Yeah.
And so it's inspired by Digitone, which Václav really like. Uh, and if you have ever played with Digitone, it's
Yeah.
also full of sweet spots.
That's true.
Full of it's very tactile, very like right here, right there. Like it invites you to play and experiment.
Yeah. That's true.
And I'm not saying that it's the carbon copy of like let's say one voice
Yeah.
of the Digitone, but it's definitely inspired by it.
All right.
And because Václav is just FM nerd,
Yeah.
uh, he wanted to make like great sounding FM voice. But I'm right now maybe I'm doing a little bit of mistake because um, the FM voice is not just Václav's work, but also our developer Florian,
Okay.
and he is amazing. Like he did it as part of his like school. I don't want to say training. I'm not sure how to say in English. Like school, like an end school, like end of the year school project.
Okay.
Yeah. When you're at college.
Like a thesis of some sort. Well, not thesis, but like
Like
your
well, yeah, thesis.
Yeah,
It's probably
something like that.
thesis. It's probably thesis. Yeah, something like that.
That's so cool.
And it is. Tell
like-
me about that.
It's like
I
casually
wish
just-
I wish I was doing something that productive when I was like 27 or something like that,
exactly.
or 25. Yeah, to make something which is like fun to use, or if we wanted to make something which is like great sounding, or like nice sweet spots. Like if I think it was like coming together during development.
Yeah, well, like the family, like that you were saying. Everyone is like
Yes, like I
so
almost feel like
invested. That's very nice.
like Vin Diesel in a
yeah.
how is
Family.
it like Fast and Furious
Yeah.
movie? Yeah,
Family.
we are family. Everything we are doing is for family.
Yeah, exactly. Pizza, family.
Yeah, pizza is family.
And for example, like the one that kind of like caught my eye a little bit also, and I haven't been trying like that much because that one I didn't find it like I haven't had the time to explore it more. But the compass, is it kind of like I wouldn't say like your sequencer, but like in a way your pattern creator module
Okay.
in a way. So
Yeah, it is. I cannot really say much about that concrete module. It was made by also our colleague. He is living in Italy, and he is actually Italian. And it was like, it is our sequencer, like a gate sequencer.
yeah.
I believe we call it probability sequencer.
Is it intended to be like rhythmic stuff or for other kinds of gate use?
Oh yeah, for rhythmic stuff.
So what kind of stuff do you do with your? Is that like your Eurorack case, the one in there?
Oh yeah. As you can see, I have foam green Eurorack case from Clank, so it's all about aesthetics.
Clank,
And well,
Clank, I have to say,
you know,
has beautiful, beautiful cases. They're
yeah,
like,
yeah, they definitely have. Well, what I'm doing with Eurorack is, well, I will maybe be a little bit boring, but I'm not using my Eurorack for Eurorack stuff. It's
okay.
it's my basic vocal processor,
Okay, nice.
because I'm like singer first and everything else later.
That's so
And
cool.
so basically I'm sending my voice to LUDAP. Then I have like two parts, which one part goes to one channel goes to Morphagene, then to Icaria, then Beats, and then it goes to Buddy as a mixer, and the other channel is only Euroburo,
Nice. Okay, cool.
and that's it. And I actually have, yeah, and I have bunch of different CV modulators I can turn on and off. It's not, you cannot see it whole, but yeah. And after that, I have smaller, like, or actually bigger case right here. Maybe I can, but maybe not. I don't know.
Oh, nice. Okay,
It's like it's here,
cool. Nice.
like bigger case, which is basically like my library.
Like library in the sense of samplers or in the sense of
No, library in sense of modules. Like if
modules,
I want
yeah.
to, yeah, if I want to
Okay.
use, some specific module for something very
Yes.
specific, which I'm not using in my like performance
Like in the main
performance
case.
one. Yeah, because the performance, it's, like I take it out, I sing somewhere, and I make weird noises with that. But the other thing is connected to computer, and it just sits here.
But that's pretty cool. Like, I mean, this is one of the things that I actually was very interested with, like getting this podcast on, into give light on how people use or can use Eurorack in very different ways. But it's also there, like it's like a voice processor. It's like a guitarist effect processor. It's like your cinematic ambient texturizer. It can be like very broad of people that use Eurorack. Like, so it's kind of like also there in the artistic realm, like performance realm. It's like very broad, And I think
Yeah,
that's like
yeah.
pretty cool to show.
That's definitely the beauty of the system.
Yeah.
You can design your own
Yeah.
synthesizer, or in my example, your own like looper slash sound processor,
Exactly.
because there wasn't anything on the market I wanted,
Nice.
because it was always very very boring.
Yeah.
So I built it myself.
Yeah, that's a great thing. Where do you see like the modular scene going, like through the future, and where do you see Bastl Instruments like going to the future?
Well, that's a very hard question. Like when I'm talking about the future of the whole ecosystem or system, because it's hard to predict what will be future brings for the anything open as Eurorack is. Like what I want to see, because I'm big groovebox nerd.
Yeah.
Like what I think will happen or can happen is that we will see more modules which will be like your base module for the whole system. Right now it can be Euroburo. I think that's one of the first like modules which can act like that. Like it's a Eurorack for a Eurorack.
Yeah.
And I think we will see much more, or I hope that we will see much more of that, because in like my dream module is that it's some sort of groove box for your modular, and you have bunch of CV in and outs, and you can expand the possibilities of the Groovebox by
Yeah.
other modules. For instance, like, okay, I have this sample editing page, but there's only one LFO for whatever parameter I want to. So okay, I will buy a new LFO, and I will patch it into this Groovebox,
Yeah.
and I will expand it that way. Like, please, someone make it. Like, please, I
Um,
need it.
I mean,
I will work for you for free.
for I mean, for sure, it looks like there's more hybrid stuff, like in the recent years, a lot of hybrid stuff, a lot of MIDI implementation, a lot of communication with other things, more than Eurorack. Like trying to, I guess that the community right now is like really, like from being like a cocoon, a little bit egg, like just Eurorack, don't touch me, and now it's really like opening their arms, like okay, polysynths, I can talk to you now. We can be friends, like computer, like like the expert sleepers, all of this part. We
Yeah,
can be
yeah, yeah.
friends. People interacting with the BC rack and all of these things. I think it's like more as the scene is maturing a little bit more to be
Yeah, yeah,
more friendly.
yeah. And that's great that you're talking about it, because the second question was, what is the future for Bastl Instruments, I
Yeah,
believe. And well, we see our future in a combination of Eurorack and Grooveboxes, or like desktop synthesizers and stuff like that. And if you look at our line of instruments, you can already see that we are like preparing for that future, because we are believe in that future, because we are using it that way.
Exactly.
We are producing instruments for us mainly. Like that's the like, it's something like the question, like if the musician is making music for the audience or himself. And I think that you're making music, like musician making music for himself, because he is the first listener.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, he's making music for the listeners, but he is the first listener, or she is.
Yeah, I think so. You're putting
And
yourself out, and
yeah.
and then
And
of course you hope to connect with what you're putting out, but
oh yeah.
but in reality you're putting out for yourself, like you said.
But I think, and we are doing it basically. If you're doing something which is very personal, and you're doing for yourself, there will be always someone who will connect with you, because he, she, or him, they will understand that, okay, you're human. Like, you are trying to be as human as possible and as open about it as possible.
Which I think I think that's the whole point of kind of like of music and arts, and it's like in the end it's like
I think it's it's the whole point of life, to be honest. Like as I getting older,
exactly.
I kind of understand that it's the most important thing is
it is
your relationships and connections.
Yeah, it is. Like,
so we we want to. So I'm sorry, I will always like go around any topic you will give.
No, but that's great. That's great.
I'm horrible with that. So yeah, like we will definitely make more interesting ways how to connect different desktops or computers or whatever with your Eurorack. We already have that Buddy, our little mixer. It's already prepared for that world where you have maybe like Polyen Tracker or M8 or something else, something like that, and you just need your one TRS cable. You don't need any Y, is it Y or epsilon Y cables? Any connectors. You just have one cable, and you put it in your Eurorack, and it works. Because that's how it's supposed to be.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and you know what I also think that we will see more in Eurorack in the future? It's MIDI. I know it's kind of like a bad word right now, but I'm not saying that CV is going away. I'm just saying that we will see more MIDI in the...
For sure. I mean, already you can see like some companies like Noble.
Well, Eurobureau is MIDI ready. Yeah. I'm working at Big Box 1010 Music. They already have MIDI because it makes sense.
And it's very helpful. And it makes sense because it also extends the hand to more traditional musicians or more traditional groups that are not necessarily into Eurorack, but then they can see the advantages as well.
Yeah. Also, there is this big advantage that you are running so many different channels with only one cable.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like the bitbox, which is basically like cheat for Eurorack,
Yeah.
like like you only have how many inputs? Eight inputs and 8 outputs if I don't count the main outputs. With MIDI, you can basically connect. You can control everything.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Especially when you're talking about, like, for example, like sampler, when you want to run several things, like, for example, like I have the Rosum assimilator, which I love. I think it's great sampler.
Yeah, that's my dream.
It's fantastic. Would I like to have MIDI implementation? Hell yeah, obviously. It would be.
It doesn't have?
No, it's 100% like CV, but it's like it's such a fantastic module, and I think it would be like even more awesome if it had like the MIDI implementation. That probably at some point, maybe not with the assimilator, but with other brands, we will see, like you said, more and more.
Yeah, I think it will like we will see more MIDI. Well, Manu from Oxy Instruments, he released that. Is it called Choral? I believe.
Yes.
And like it has MIDI because it makes sense, you know. Like you have this beautiful control interface, and you just connect it with one cable.
Yeah.
Yes, please, like give me that one cable.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't want your eight cables.
Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly. Like, yeah. No, thank you. Like, keep your 8 cables. I will take my 1 cable.
Yes, I agree. Perfect, Patrick. Thank you very much. Honestly, like
same to you, Sergio.
Very happy to know to meet you and have this lovely conversation. And we're gonna keep promoting and keep looking for Bastl Instruments. We really enjoy them.
Thank you.